The Crypto Bros are here, and if you don't understand what that means, you're about to learn a very hard financial lesson. Crypto culture has spent the last decade perfecting one specific skill, taking an asset, manufacturing hype around it, pumping the price with coordinated buying, and then exiting before the retail crowd even realized what happened. They did it with meme coins, they did it with NFTs, and now they're going to do it here with your cards. This is not paranoia. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is exactly what is starting to happen in the Pokémon TCG right now, and most of the community has no idea what is even coming. Let me explain how this works, because once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. The crypto playbook is easy. Simply identify an asset with thin liquidity in an emotionally invested community. Thin liquidity means it doesn't take much capital to move the price significantly because there are not enough buyers and sellers to absorb large moves. An emotionally invested community means people are more likely to buy based on excitement and fear of missing out than data. The Pokémon TCG checks both of those boxes perfectly. You've already seen this play out. You just didn't realize what you were actually looking at. This community has its own name for it. They usually call it a buyout, sometimes a sweep, sometimes just an unexplained spike that everyone shrugs off as normal market activity. It's happened with Destined Rivals recently. It's happened with Ascended Heroes when 800 ETBs sold in a single day on a platform, a number that should have raised every red flag in the book and instead got chalked up to nonsense. You watched it happen. You commented on it. You maybe even participated in it without even understanding the mechanism underneath the move. The sudden listing sweep, the price jump that came out of nowhere, the frenzy that follows. This community has had a casual word for this phenomenon for years and never once stopped to ask what was actually behind the moves or why it continues to happen on predictable cycles. It's not random. It's never been random. You've simply been watching the exact mechanism we're about to walk through happening in real time. The only thing missing was the vocabulary to recognize it for what it actually is. It doesn't take much to move the price in the TCG marketplace. I discussed this in a previous video about Destined Rivals. At the time, it would have only cost around $9,000 to completely skew the price of Destined Rivals ETBs on TCG Player. It just takes a coordinated group with some capital to target a specific card or specific set, buy aggressively across a few different platforms simultaneously, create the appearance of organic demand, trigger the FOMO response in a community that is primed to chase hype, and then sell into the buying pressure they created once retail money floods in behind them. This is not hypothetical. This is the exact mechanism behind every meme coin pump and dump cycle. The same people who did this in crypto are now sitting on capital looking for the next market with the same characteristics. And they found it. Look at Logan Paul. Look at what he's done to the community. Most collectors and even most investors in this hobby have never been through a coordinated pump and dump cycle before. They don't recognize the patterns because they've never seen them. A sudden unexplained spike in a previously stable card looks exciting to most people in the community. It looks like an opportunity. It looks like the kind of move we talk about on this channel. But it's not the same thing. The difference between organic demand and manufactured demand comes down to sustainability. Organic demand, the kind driven by real chase card density, real character popularity, real cross-demographic appeal, holds. It might dip, it might correct, but it doesn't collapse because the underlying drivers of value never disappeared. Manufactured demand is simply borrowed time. The moment the coordinated buying stops, the price has nothing holding it up. There's no real character demand underneath it. There's no real chase card density supporting it. It was air from the start, and air doesn't hold a price level once the pumping stops. The volatility this is going to introduce into the market is going to be unlike anything this hobby has experienced before. We're all used to hype cycles that build over weeks and correct over months. What crypto money brings is hype cycles that build in hours and correct in days. Sharper spikes, harder crashes, less predictability for anyone trying to apply traditional analysis. Let me walk you through exactly what this looks like, step by step, so you know precisely what to watch for in the future. This is not about one specific card. This is simply the framework every single time it happens, regardless of which card or set it targets. Step 1. A group identifies a card with a thin float, not a major grail character. Those can sometimes have a bit too much organic volume to manipulate cheaply. They look for something mid-tier, recognizable enough that a price spike looks plausible, liquid enough that a relatively small amount of capital can move it significantly. Step 2. They begin quietly accumulating, buying up the available copies across a few different platforms over a short window, sometimes just hours, and other times even minutes. This usually doesn't draw enough attention to start with, just enough to thin out the available supply at the lower price points. Step 3. Once the cheap copies are gone, they relist a handful of their own copies at a dramatically inflated price. 2x, 3x, 5x. No real buyer has paid that price yet, but it's now the lowest available listing. Step 4. Automated pricing algorithms instantly absorb that listing and adjust the displayed market price upward. The chart moves, the number on the screen changes, and it changes fast. Step 5. The community sees the chart move and reacts exactly the way the manipulators are counting on. Comment sections light up. Content creators rush to make videos. Is this card mooning? What's happening? Should I buy now before it's too late? The fear of missing out activates across the entire community simultaneously. You can literally see this happen every single day. Step 6. Here come the buyers. Real people with real money. Start buying in on that product or card based on the chart, based on the hype, based on the videos. Demand that didn't exist an hour ago is now flooding in, and that demand is real. It just started because of a number that was not real in the first place. Step 7. The original group sells directly into that retail demand. They exit at the inflated price they created, pocket the difference between what they paid during a quiet accumulation and what panicked retail buyers are now paying. Step 8. Once they're fully liquidated, the buying pressure that was holding the price up generally disappears. There's no organic demand underneath it. There never was. The price collapses back towards where it started, sometimes overshooting to the downside as the same panic that drove the buying now drives the selling. The same people left holding the card at peak are the retail buyers who reacted to a chart instead of verifying actual sales. The people who profited are those ones who manufacture the entire sequence from start to finish. Again, the cycle can play out in a single day, sometimes in a matter of hours. And to someone who does not know what they're looking for, it looks exactly like a legitimate breakout move. This is why when you see PokeTubers constantly run to TCG Player as a way to basically justify whatever nonsense they made up that day to create a video, you instantly know they have no idea what they're talking about. They're just looking at an artificial number as always. So what can you actually do to defend yourself with these things hitting the market fast and hard? First of all, we must always verify sold listings before you act on anything. A great place to do this is run over to eBay, just check sold listings. Check whether real transaction volume exists at a new price, or whether it's just a handful of inflated listings with nobody actually buying. If you can't find numerous verified sales at the new price, walk away. No exceptions. This kind of behavior is not unique to Pokemon. It's the exact same playbook that has run through crypto markets for years. The only thing new is the asset class it's now being directed at. First, be suspicious of sudden unexplained price spikes on cards or sets that don't have the fundamental characteristics we talk about on this channel every single day. If a card with no real grail status suddenly triples in price overnight with no clear catalyst, no announcement, no set reveal, no organic data point, that's a red flag. It's not an opportunity. Secondly, verify the volume, not just the price. A real move involves significant transaction volume across multiple platforms. A manufactured move often involves a small number of large transactions designed specifically to move the displayed price with minimal actual capital deployed. And this is exactly where TCG Player becomes the perfect tool for exploitation. TCG Player is the single worst place in the entire hobby to check pricing. I've covered it extensively on this channel, and it bears repeating over and over again. In the context of this video, it's because it's directly relevant to how the crypto money operates. Somebody recently sent me a screenshot of a content creator referencing a TCG Player chart showing perfect order sitting at $58 per ETB. That's not a real price. That was never a real price. Nobody was selling at $58 a pop. That number was simply TCG Player's garbage algorithm doing what it always does, attaching a displayed price to a product based on flawed, lagging math that has no connection to the real world. This is a massive loophole for anyone looking to manipulate this market. A small group can sweep low-price listings, relist at extreme markups or discounts, and watch TCG Player's algorithm absorb that noise and spit out a number that influences every single buyer and seller who uses that platform. If you're using TCG Player for anything beyond a quick starting point, you're operating with a significant blind spot. The crypto money knows this. I know this. You now know this. They are counting on the fact that most of this community checks one chart, sees a number, and makes a financial decision without ever verifying it against a real-world transaction. Go check eBay sold listings every time without exception. That's where real money changes hands and it actually shows up. It's the only place in this market where a person sitting on a laptop on a beach can separate the genuine move from a manufactured one with any confidence. Third, do not chase. This is the single most important rule in protecting yourself from this kind of volatility. If you see a card spiking and your first instinct is to buy immediately because you don't want to miss it, stop it. Turn the computer off. That instinct is exactly what the people manufacturing the move are counting on you to do. The fear of missing out. Fourth, stick to the framework. Grail characters, chase card density, cross-demographic demand. Real fundamentals do not change because a coordinated group decided to target a different card that day. The framework that has worked in this market for decades is still the framework that can protect you now. The Pokemon TCG market has grown into a market large enough and liquid enough to attract this kind of attention. It's not entirely bad news. It means institutional recognition of this market as a legitimate asset class. But it comes at a cost. Increased volatility, increased noise, increased opportunities for manipulation aimed at a community that has never had to defend against this kind of sophisticated capital spending before. And there's another piece of this puzzle worth understanding because it tells you exactly where the hobby is headed. Japan. The Japanese Pokemon TCG market is significantly more mature than the English market. It has weathered more cycles. It has already lived through phases of speculation, correction, stabilization that the English market is only beginning to experience now. That maturity makes Japan an incredibly useful reference point. Cards and sets in Japan are frequently undervalued relative to where they eventually land. And the English audience still takes forever to even spot value, not only with English cards, but especially Japanese cards. That information is sitting right there in plain sight, and most of the community never even bothers to look. This matters directly in the context of everything we just covered. As more sophisticated capital enters the hobby, institutional money, crypto money, coordinated groups looking for inefficient markets to exploit, the English market is going to mature faster than most people expect. The volatility, the manipulation, the noise we are going to see is going to expand. That doesn't mean it's a market falling apart. It's simply a market growing up. Japan's already gone through numerous versions of this. The market over there is fairly stable these days. Pretty boring. That boredom is not a bad thing. It is what a mature market looks like. Less manipulation and opportunity based on fundamentals. The English market is going to eventually get there. It's just not there yet. It's not anywhere close to there yet. The gap between where we are now and where Japan already is represents one of the clearest windows into the future of this hobby that has ever existed anywhere. If you want to know what the market looks like in 5 years, stop guessing and look at Japan. The pattern's sitting right there in front of you for anyone willing to take the time to look. The crypto bros are here. They're going to keep coming. And the only protection you have is knowledge, discipline, and a refusal to chase hype that does not have real fundamentals underneath it. That is why this framework matters more now than it ever has. All my videos are free. Every piece of information I share on this channel is 100% free. That'll never change. But if you do happen to find value in what I do here and you want to support my ability to keep producing this content, one of the best ways you can do that is just become a member over on Patreon. You can get a membership for as low as $5 a month, less than the price of a cup of coffee. The members area gives you access to my private community, conference calls with me and other members, and real-time market conversations that don't happen anywhere else, just like White Flare that I posted a month ago. And if you're in a hurry and you want to fast track your knowledge and learn everything I know instead of waiting for videos to come out, I wrote the #1 best-selling TCG investing guide ever written, 370 pages. Everything that is in that book would take me hundreds of videos to cover. Right now, if you purchase that ebook directly on my website, you also get a free month to the members area. This is a no-brainer investment. All of my information is free, but these are ways you can help me keep producing it if you enjoy it. So thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch the video. If you found the video helpful, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment down below. I read every single one of them, and I'll catch you on the next video.